Hey, so Donald Trump didn't betray you. He's giving you everything that you voted for. He told you during the campaign, even during the debate. He said immigrants are eating dogs and eating cats. He said children are going to school one sex and coming back a different sex. And you bought it. That's the guy you voted for. Everybody else didn't buy that bullshit. You did. And now you're getting big government. You're getting a fascist regime, a dictatorship, and you feel like you're betrayed? Nobody betrayed you, bitch. You voted for that shit. And we told you. Stop making little TikTok videos. Stop going on Instagram talking about, oh, Donald Trump, he betrayed us. No, the fuck he didn't. You voted for this shit. And now we are all in the finding out version of fucking around. But we didn't fuck around. You did. So congratulations. You got what you wanted. You fucked up.
Hi, beautiful people. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by, supporting your girl on this channel. So, all credit goes to the creators in these videos. And guys, in today's video,
The job market is so bad right now that it might actually be easier to just start your own business than find a job. I took a cold call yesterday from a sales guy. I don't know why I took it. I never take these calls, but I was talking to him and he told me that he was representing a marketing company. I said, okay, so what is your job? He said, well, actually, I own a business. He told me that he was an account executive and the job market was so tough. He couldn't find a job for months and months that he decided to open up a business. And essentially all he does is he's like a fractional account executive. So he literally works with companies and just does all of their cold calling. And he has 5 clients. He's already starting to expand the business. In fact, he was hiring somebody to kind of help him with some of the cold calling. And he just told me it was really hard to find a job. And I figured it would actually be easier to, instead of just applying for jobs and having to interview and sell myself, he's like, I thought it would just be easier to start a business. And he was right. And that's where we're at right now. It is literally easier to start a business than find an actual job. Wild times. It's brutal out there.
So I got laid off maybe a month ago and I've been applying to jobs. I've applied to like 20 or 25 jobs since then. I have not received one interview request. Not one. I haven't received an email from a real person. And I'm just like, what's going on? The resume is updated. The LinkedIn is updated. I've even some jobs I've gotten like internal referrals from people I used to work with that are at these companies that are like, oh, I'll refer you to this open position, no problem. Done that. All of these things. Crickets. I'm just like, what's going on? Well, and I knew it would take a while. I didn't think I would like have a new position immediately, but the lack of interest is blowing me. I'm like, I thought y'all would at least want to know more. No. Like, how does your self-esteem take these hits? Because I'm starting to think it's me. Is it me?
Let's talk tariffs, because I know you've all read or heard about that amazing decision from last Wednesday out of the Court for International Trade. It's a federal court within our federal court system, just like our other courts. It hears special cases, trade cases specifically, and parties can appeal those decisions just like they can any other federal decision. In this case, a decision of the CIT gets appealed to the federal circuit and then to the Supreme Court. So we have an opinion by the lower court. It has declared the tariffs to be unconstitutional. The tariffs are unconstitutional because the president doesn't have the authority to set trade or commerce. Only Congress can do that. Absent, special circumstances or exigent circumstances. And Trump administration had claimed that there was an emergency, a national emergency. CIT disagreed. And then Trump appealed, per usual. The federal circuit stayed the decision while Trump appeals. That's annoying because we would like to see a resolution here. I know that, but that's not how the law works. While the parties write their briefs during the appeal on an expedited schedule, the tariffs are going to remain in place uninterrupted. Ugh, Ow, I know it, but it's going to happen quickly, guys. June 5th, the plaintiffs are responding to the appeal, and I think it's June 9th. The President Trump's administration needs to respond on the appeal. So we're going to hopefully have a decision really quickly in this case. Can't wait to hear what the Federal Circuit decides. All right, stay tuned.
Hi, everyone. Happy Monday, and I hope you're kicking off a great start to the month of June. I wanted to post to my followers because I received a message from one of my followers down in Florida, specifically the Tampa Bay area, and they are apparently seeing significant shortages on the shelves. And indications are it's not just in discretionary categories, but in groceries too. As you probably know, I'm in Minnesota, and we are seeing maybe a few shortages here or there, but nothing really noticeable at this point. But I'm very curious how this differs across the US and what we can learn from that. So please drop in the comments your location, and if you are seeing bare shelves, what types of categories you're seeing them in, and then I will do a summary of what's happening across the US at this point due to the tariff shortages. Because my 2 cents is it's starting to happen in certain pockets, but hasn't hit everywhere yet. Let me know your thoughts.
Here's why low-income earners will bear the burden of the tariffs more than high-income earners. Number one, tariffs are a form of regressive tax. So, for example, if there's a pair of shoes and they cost $20 more, it's a lot harder to absorb that if you make $40,000 a year versus $400,000 a year. This is the opposite, for instance, of our income tax system, which is where if you make more, you pay more. If you make less, you pay less. Number two, tariffs are disproportionately going to impact essentials. So these are things like school supplies, clothes, car seats, strollers. These are items that typically are made overseas. There's just not U.S. supply chain for these items right now. And then number three, tariffs are going to decrease optionality for consumers. So because it's harder to make these items in certain locations, companies aren't going to be able to make as much variety of products. And so there's just going to be less options. There's going to be less choice, which is going to make prices more expensive in general. And this is why the tariff policy will negatively impact low-income earners more so than high-income earners.
I was in the middle of doing my hair, right, and I kept coming across all these videos saying FedEx and UPS is sending them invoices for tariffs after the fact. And I was like, why would FedEx and UPS be sending invoices? And then it dawned on me that FedEx and UPS is paying the tariff for us and then sending us the bill. And that is reminding me of like Afterpay and Klarna and how they about to go bankruptcy because they let people buy all this stuff and other people decided they're not going to pay them back. And I just want to know why FedEx and UPS think that's a good long-term strategy, because what if we just decide we're not paying them tariffs? Like, what if we just decide to not give them the money? Are they going to send the products back, but they've already paid the tariff? So then what happens? Anyway, and I just want to know, why are these companies not telling us on their website that there's going to be an additional bill? How come they're not routing us to FedEx or UPS to let us know that there's going to be an additional bill and if we really want to proceed with this purchase? Because if I knew that I was buying something for $180 and I was going to be getting a $600 tariff bill after the fact, I promise you I would not be spending that original $180 and they would keep that shit at the store or factory, wherever it's at. And I just feel like there should be a way for them to communicate to us that we're going to be getting this fee, because what are we going to do once we get this fee after the fact? Because I know I'm not paying it. Are you paying it? And I think that we should stop calling this a tariff and we should start calling this the Trump tax, the Trump fee, the Trump tariff, the Trump something. That way it gets branded that this is all because of Trump. And you know how he hates negative attention. He hates negative publicity. We really need to call this the Trump tax. The Trump fee. Yeah, we're going to call it the Trump fee.
SCOTUS ruled 8-1 today that Trumpy can take away the legal protected status of 350,000 Venezuelans and send them back to Venezuela. And this is the danger of executive orders, because the next president can just come around and go, nah, I don't want them here. Oh, but I'll take the white people from South Africa. But what do you guys think?
Do you know what percentage of Harvard students are international students? It's about 30%. And even though, yes, there is a sprinkle of some like scholarship international kids that, have full rights, but the majority of international students at schools like Harvard and Ivy League schools, they come from money. And not just money, but power and influence. So now Ronald McDonald Trump messed with the wrong people, and he's about to find out. Because even though these kids' parents may not live in the United States, these kids' parents do business in the United States across multiple industries. And it's because most of these parents lean pretty conservatively. Like, many of them probably supported Ronald McDonald Trump. And now he's coming for their kids. Like, he cannot get out of his own way. There's no legal way that he's going to be able to do this. But that doesn't mean he won't find an illegal way to do it anyway. So much for only deporting criminals or undocumented immigrants. If he's coming from some of the most brilliant minds, from some of the world's wealthiest families, what makes you think he's not going to come after you?
The Republicans' new bill essentially raises taxes for people making $15,000 a year. It raises their taxes by almost 18% on average. This isn't made up. You can look it up. And if you're making $30,000, you're also going to see an increase. But the top 5% are going to get a tax break, a tax cut. If this isn't highway robbery by the Republicans and this Trump's administration, I don't know what is. I really don't know. This comes with the tariffs, which we know are going to increase prices for us, right? I mean, is this winning, guys? I mean, to all you guys that come and you comment and you're like Trump, are we winning? Is this winning?
I think enough time has passed for us to talk about this. While yes, a lot of Latinos are very racist and misogynistic and a lot of things like that, that's not a majority of the reason why they didn't vote for Kamala. So let's start with Cubans. Cubans are able to become, I don't know if it's citizens or at least like get their green card the second they step on US land. Okay, now let's talk about Mexicans and Mexican Americans. So Mexicans have been here since before the colonizers got here and made Mexicans. So we have to kind of look at US history, and when you look back, the US has really wanted to take control of what kind of people are in the US, like regarding their skin color, starting with the genocide of the indigenous people here. The colonizers saw land they liked and they saw people living here they liked, so they got rid of them. They willingly participated in the transatlantic slave trade and created a hierarchy where Black people, Black Americans, slaves at the time, were at the bottom, lower than animals. These were things that the US was able to control. But Mexicans were a different breed. Mexicans have been crossing the border since before Texas was part of the US. And no matter how many times the US has tried to genocide us, has tried to kick us out, has tried to scare us, we keep coming back. So they've made it very difficult, very, 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 very difficult to become citizens and have rights. Now let's talk about the Venezuelans. In 2023, the Biden administration offered 500,000 Venezuelans full citizenship. Well, not full citizenship. They got something called TPS, or temporary protective status. Venezuelans and Cubans look at Mexicans like, why can't you just come the legal way? While Mexicans are like, why are these people getting full benefits when we've been here for so long and can't even get green cards without having to work our asses off or come in illegally? Something that Latinos fail to understand, both in Latin America and in the United States, is that they don't see us as individuals. We're not American here. We're all Mexican. They all think we're Mexican. I mean, I am Mexican, but you know what I mean. Except Cubans. Cubans were able to go to white spaces during Jim Crow time because they passed as white, because they were white. I feel like each group, each nationality thought that voting for Trump would make them, I don't know, get what they deserve. And they don't even realize that the reason that they're all leaving their home country is because of US intervention.
I don't know why people are surprised that so many Latinos support Trump still. Over 60% still support what he's doing. Because these people know that the ones that came into this country illegally are criminals.
Trump is in my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania today, where he will give a speech at the U.S. Steel building discussing the acquisition of U.S. Steel by a Japanese company. I just wanted to make sure everyone in MAGA was up to date because I know it can be a little confusing. On the campaign trail, he said this deal was a disaster and he would not approve it and it was a horrible deal. But now that he is president, he actually signed off and now it's a great deal. So please make sure that you are aware that now you like the deal. I know before you weren't supposed to like it, but now you do. Your feelings have changed. I hope that is clear.